But to be in power, of course, being in office might help. But to be in power, you must have something that people can buy into. And this is why what the minister was saying is very important. And this, for me, as Christians, is something that we must take very seriously. What does being a Christian in public life really mean? Especially given the fact that everything in Nigeria, the president of Nigeria presides over a distribution agency, and he gives to whomever he wants. If he doesn't give us. But the truth of the matter is that we can see and we can measure how people react when others are out of power. That is, if you tie power to office. And I'll give you an example. I think President Obasanjo has traveled. I'll tell you this story. He's my very good friend. One great thing about President Obasanjo, one great thing about him is you can tell him anything. But anyway, what I'm telling you is a true story. When his wife, may God rest her soul, died, her father said to me, look, I'm going to build a church in memory of my daughter. And I've not started building the church yet, but when I finish that church, wherever you are, the date will have to fit you because I would like you to come and preach. Okay, I said, Papa, yes. So the date came, and I had to go to her hometown. And unfortunately for me, I had to get back to Kaduna, for the next day because it was on a Saturday. So, graciously, President Obasanjo was there. So when he was about to leave, he was no longer president. When he was about to leave, he sent somebody to tell me that he's leaving. So at that, I knew there was no flight out of Benin. So I said, please, can I follow you? He said, okay, you'll wait. And he waited. So anyway, he gave me a lift, came in a private plane. As we were about landing at the airport, the plane going to Kaduna was moving. I saw the plane. I turned to President Obasanjo. I said, you see, if you had been president now, there would have presidential movement. This plane would have been grounded. I said, now you are no longer president. See my plane going to Kaduna there. I'm not going to be able to get the plane. Well, Obasanjo felt sorry for me. And being the kind of person he was, he said, okay, I will pay you. I'll refund your transport money. And of course, trust him. He counted 15,000 naira and gave me. So, but the point. Now, the point I'm making, and please let me, let me move on. The point I'm making is, we must understand that only one person can be in office at a time. All of us will never be in office at the same time. And that following faithfully and doing our job dutifully, because each and every one of us is a leader in our own different capacities. Whether it's as a father, whether it's as a head boy, or whether it's just being responsible only to yourself. So I think this is very important because it then takes us to the to the third point, which is when we talk about power, why does getting into office become so violent? Why has it become such a violent exercise? I remember I delivered a lecture, I think it was at the Nigerian Bar Association conference. And I said that President Jonathan was there. And I said, the president of Nigeria is the most powerful president anywhere in the world. And I could see people looking differently. But then I moved to the next point, and I said where else in the world can you as a president with just a signature make a poor man a millionaire? Just a signature. Because as president of Nigeria, frankly, a man can close his eyes and today you don't know you just think that an oil well is a well where they fetch. And you can become, and from nowhere you can own an oil well at the signature of the president of Nigeria. It may not happen in terms of the president of the United States of America, who is so powerful, because there are processes. So contest for power in Nigeria is not about the struggle to serve, because I always say, if you are genuinely struggling to serve, why should it just be at all cost? Really? The second point is the question of preparedness for public leadership in Nigeria. Now, the issue is addressed by James in the book of James chapter 4, where James says, all these troubles, where do they come from? Where do all these problems come from? James says, they come from our greed. You want something, you cannot get it, you are prepared to kill. And James goes on and says, you pray for something and you don't get it. Why is it that when you pray for something, you don't get it? He said, you pray for something, you don't get it because you know already that your prayer is for self-satisfaction. And that when you say the Lord's Prayer, you don't say, you just say, God our Father in heaven, I hope that your will in heaven corresponds to my will here on earth. And this is why, you know, when we hear stories from other places, we think that somehow these things will work in Nigeria. You know, there was a case of a man who, he said two friends went on a Friday evening, and they went to a beer parlor and they drank. And among beer drinkers, I heard, they said that if you drink Golda and you get very drunk, just wake up, start with a bottle of Golda, it will clear your head. Don't try it because I'm not sure it is true. But anyway, these two friends later on decided to clear their head. So they sat down and started drinking. Then one friend turned to the other and said, oh boy, you know, last night my head, it was as if they were beating drum inside. And then there was a madman passing by. And the madman heard them. He said, you know, as if my head would break. So the madman went close to them. He said, Oga, your head, was it doing like from here to here? So the man looked at the madman and said, how do you know? He said, Oga, I saw my own start. So, you know, things are not often as easy as they look. Things are not often as easy as they look. But I think perhaps the greater part of the challenge that we face now, as I said, we admit that we are all angry. But the question is, how do we process this anger? And here, I heard somebody say, I think it was Shegun Adeni, whose paper was on, is he around here? Because I actually wanted to accuse Shegun of hate speech. I heard him claiming that he's an indigene of this place. That's what he said in the morning. I just want to let him know, because when people begin to claim indigenship like that, after some time they will give us quit notice without. So please let Shegun know that he's not the only indigene of this place. But the point I'm making is, where we are now, anything can go wrong. And I just have a few examples. Because we are at a tipping point. And I'll give you an example. Something happened to me personally on the 16th of September. And it's troubling. I will share the story with you. I was with my driver, and we were going to Bauchi for the ordination of the new bishop of Bauchi, new Catholic bishop of Bauchi. And right in front of us, this trailer coming, it missed a pothole, and it was coming right at us. My driver tried to swing up. We had a bus in front of us. The bus managed to swing, but because the trailer turned this way and that way, the side of the trailer touched the bus. 14-seater bus. It somersaulted. The second somersault took it into the ditch. The third somersault, I saw people flying out. And I was rushing because the ordination was taking place that morning. So I pulled over. I told my driver to pull over. My body was shaking because as I saw 3 or 4 people flying out of the bus, I worried because I said I didn't think we were going to find anybody alive. But we went into the ditch. And before I got to the ditch, it was in a predominantly Muslim village, because I know the village, called Babale, as you're going to Bauchi. Most of the people in that village are Muslims. And they all rushed across. with their jalabias, you know, and there are some people, Babariga, everybody, they all rushed across. And they went into the ditch. When I got down, I discovered that from the wrapper of the women, they had come from, what do you call it, from Owerri, and they were going to Bauchi for the ordination. And they were from a parish where the bishop to be ordained had been working. Now, imagine that these Hausa people there were struggling, and with them, we took out these 13 people who were in the bus. Except the driver, all of them were Igbos. Now, imagine that if somebody had snapped a photograph of this, let me use the word, these Muslims taking out these people, and there had been a writing on the bus to say that the bus was from Owerri. And somebody took a picture and posted the picture and said, the killing has started. See Hausa people killing Igbos. I make the point because we are on a very, very dangerous precipice. And we must therefore be careful. I went to Sarajevo about 5 years ago for a conference. And I was lucky, I physically went to where Archduke Ferdinand was stabbed on the 28th of June, 1914. If you go to Sarajevo, you see the place. In fact, that day, Nigeria was playing, was it Bosnia? During the World Cup. But I saw the place. And as you know, the First World War started over the story of the stabbing of Archduke Ferdinand. Nobody bothered for other details. It turned out to be a signal. On the 28th of June 1989, Ivan Stambolic asked Milosevic, Slobodan Milosevic, to go to Kosovo and address the Serbians. And the Serbians were marking a war that they fought with the Ottoman Empire in 1389, the 600th anniversary of that war. Milosevic got to the venue. 1 million Serbs gathered. And Milosevic told them, from today, nobody else is going to slap you. Now, the speech that Milosevic delivered, you can Google it, you find it on Google, is the most passionate speech. But it ignited sentiments and set the pace for the killings that started and led to the Serbian war.